All right, so Conspiracy Broadcasting Network here. I just finished up a vlog on venting about the occupational piece, venting about the entire conspiracy, of course. Because here's the deal is I could go to a therapist, but guess what? And guess what? Every single time I went to go talk to anybody about this, including blood or including healthcare professionals, more abuse. More fucking abuse. That's all I got out of it. I got absolutely nothing from it. Not from any healthcare provider, not from family. So I just stopped. So my medicine is displaying this to my channel here because it's super important to understand that this is something that they're trying to orchestrate to literally, I could see how some people would commit suicide if they weren't told certain things. For example, if they weren't playing with my mind, if it happened to someone else who was vulnerable, they would have gauged it because this is such a precise campaign and such a precise attack that they would have gauged who would be able to handle it and who wouldn't. But there's no telling who they're doing it to. There's other people out here that have a different name for this particular system of abuse. I think they call it, I believe, gang stalking or cause stalking or organized stalking, stuff like that. Long story short is they're just trying to off you and they're trying to pull all of these things away from you, from friends, family. And you can see that the orchestration is so intense that you're isolated to basically nothing. You're just isolated. And then you're told that you're something that you're not at all times. At all times. The craziest thing about this campaign is that at all times, you are written away on paper as something you're not. And you're living this life being you, but you're told that and written away that you're something that you're not. And it's this deep-seated narcissism that I could see, depending on the personality of the person and what they'd be able to be subjected to based off of their mental state and how they handle certain pressures, that it would put people in a really bad place. And I would also say that there's a lot of people who I knew in the past and that are right now in my age group who are on drugs, who would definitely be using alcohol, definitely be using marijuana, definitely be using mushrooms. And that's the other thing too about this program is because they're so in tune to my habits and they're so in tune to my disciplines and they're always orchestrating abuse, even the things that I go and buy, they try to orchestrate like my nutrition and ambush me and make me make decisions by laying out certain things, right? What they're doing is they're traumatizing you to the environment. That way they can send you messages. That's all this is. So they'll traumatize you. They waited for me to get to my master's program and then took that away from me in this giant campaign of narcissism. They still continued to do that. And so because it was so traumatizing, borderline PTSD level, now they're able to lay things out amongst the environment and you're going to be focused into it. You're going to be looking around like, I've been abused before. And so they'll start ambushing you as they're anticipating your movements. Again, the reason this is all happening is because they know and they knew. They know and they knew, very important, that there's no consequences. There's no consequences for their actions. They know and they knew, meaning they knew ahead of time that they were leading me this way, and there's thousands of people involved. They knew they were leading me this way in this bad direction, and they could have led me in any direction they wanted to, but they continued to lead me in this direction. That's something important to think about when you peel back the onion. Very important to think about. So on this particular Conspiracy Broadcasting Network vlog, I wanted to talk about the drugs and I wanted to talk about the vehicles. So when this overtly began, naturally you're going to not understand why it continues persistently day after day. And this smearing has led me to job hop, and it's led me to go to different areas of the United States. And along all of these areas, they were using this smearing campaign of almost like a roller coaster type abuse. I call it a yo-yo. A yo-yo is, you go up and you go down, you go up, and basically what they're taking your mind and they're yo-yoing your mind. They'll have these women come in and give you attention. Okay, beautiful women will come in and give you attention. They'll find out the things that you like, the things that you're interested in, the things that you marvel at. Okay, and they'll come in and give you attention, and they'll increase or up your mental state, your endorphins, your excitement, right? Your self-esteem. And then at the flip side of that, within minutes, within an hour, or within a day, okay, is typically when the assault or the attack happened. They will then smear you until they'll smear you. They'll say, hey, something happened out there that the patient was saying, or your coworker said that this happened, and then you're sitting there scratching your head with a giant question mark, an exclamation sticking out like a sticker, right, abstractly out of your head, saying, what are you talking about? You have no clue what's going on, but you're being told that you're somebody. You're being told that you're doing something you're not. Okay, and they use this to condition you to be abused, to the abuse, right? And so your hormones are just nonstop going up and down in this fight or flight mode, right? Nonstop. Cortisol levels elevated out the freaking yin yang. So much so I realized that I was feeling a little girlish for a couple years. Like I was feeling weak. And I noticed that I couldn't retain my muscle mass around my knees. I had weak knees. I go to figure all this out. I'm looking at this stuff. I don't believe a fucking thing a doctor says. Don't believe a fucking thing a doctor tells you. Okay? Just like these guys telling you that your cholesterol is high because it's genetics and shit. For me, it's not genetics. It's fucking perpetual, persistent, elevated cortisol levels. And sure enough, I started taking some mild testosterone boosting supplements. Lo and behold, my world has absolutely changed. Okay, because the beatings, the verbal beatings, and the verbal narcissism that I had incurred the past 10 years of my life, nonstop, everywhere I go, okay, has elevated my cortisols to a degree where it was completely demolishing my luteinizing hormone. Is drop my test levels. And then I reached the age that I am now to compound that. Realize that my test levels were fucking not producing. I wasn't producing tests. I was feeling like anxious and all this other stuff. And sure enough, I went back and I sat down. I said, some of the things that I'm doing with adaptogens and nootropics isn't working. Something's not right. I said, why are my knees weak? I noticed that when I'm doing things out in the gym. Okay. And sure enough, I started doing some mild testosterone boosting supplements. We're talking fenugreek. We're talking ashwagandha, right? So little tweak here, but all of it, I picked up a couple other things too. Nothing at the steroid level, of course, nothing like that, no injectables. And definitely didn't go talk to a fucking doctor about it because they're going to give me the runaround, and I don't trust a damn thing they say anymore. Long story short, I got it all figured out. Now I feel like I used to be before the program started. So before the program started in 2014, where thousands of people were walking on my accord in buildings, out of buildings, in parking lots, in grocery stores, they still do it. They just don't come in my personal space anymore. Okay. I feel like I'm back when I was like 18 energy wise, because I'm now supplementing with testosterone, and my test levels dipped because of this persistent harassment and stalking campaign. Okay. And when we're talking about drugs, it's like The drugs, if I felt like every time I moved somewhere and every person I spoke to while I'm going through the program, they're trying to get me or influence me. The same bullshit that they were doing before I knew about the program, where everywhere I went, it was always about being around people with drugs. It was always about that, even in college. In college, it was always about being around marijuana, being introduced to like hard drug, right? It was always that. It was always trying to introduce me to the mushrooms or introduce me to the marijuana. It was always trying to get me to do this. Every connection I had, and every time I moved, there was always somebody smoking marijuana. Every chick that I met on a dating app was doing mushrooms or marijuana. Just nonstop. They just kept pushing me. And while I'm going through all this trouble, going through this carnival of hell, okay, where I jump into the occupational setting, I start making money, I jump into that, and then they start abusing me in the occupation, in the ambulance service. I'm abused at every one. And then what they try to do is they try to beat you down so much that they think that they can get you to start doing fucking drugs. And they're constantly tracking you everywhere you go, right? Literally thousands of gamers trying to defeat a boss. You feel like you are the dungeon. You know what I mean by that too. I feel like I am the dungeon. Like you come into the dungeon, you got all your everybody around coming to my dungeon. Okay. And that's what it is. We sitting here, my health bars, 99 plus, X99. Okay. And these people are literally gaming you like a video game on this, whatever technology is called. It doesn't matter. It has accuracy and precision. It's always an ambush. It's always setting me up. It's always trying to manipulate my surroundings. It's always manipulating the vehicles around me. It's always manipulating conversation. It's always gaslighting. It's always telling me what my future is going to be. It's always telling me who I'm going to be. It's always telling me what I'm going to have. It's always this, what do they call it? Prophylactic conversation bullshit. This KGB tactic bullshit. But it's just important to realize that this, not only were they orchestrating your affliction of STD, right? Of STDs. Not only were they orchestrating that, but they're orchestrating your downfall to where you're reliant on fucking marijuana and mushrooms, okay, all the fucking time. The dumbass that there was a dumbass tenant that I allowed in here. Multiple times, I even tell them before they even get in here, it's on at my advertisement. It's on during my interview. I talk about it, and it's on the contract. That's 3 times. Three times I get into it before they even step hold in here officially. And this dumbass brings some mushrooms. I can't make it up. Always around. Drugs, always around. I'm 35 years old. And these motherfuckers are trying to bring drugs around me to make me feel like I need to get around drugs. The other thing is smoking too. And this is, I'm talking influence on steroids. Always trying to influence you all the time. All the time. Walking around, smoking and shit, throwing smoke, like smoking Black and Milds and shit around, trying to get you. And you see it all the time. Because the reason why you feel like you're being influenced to see it, it's because they've influenced you and they forced you to go against your will in certain areas of the occupational setting. Or they forced you against their will to only speak to one girl, right? And that's what this is about too. Just like whenever they're leading you to one romance, they're leading you to one person. And in this case, I remember Jamie Whitehead we met at the bar, but the way she approached was an intercept. Right? It was always this intercepting movement. It was never a casual, just walk up and have a conversation. It was always an intercept of me walking. right? It's always fucking control, right? Because I am the dungeon. Right? I'm the dungeon boss, I guess, if you want to call it that. The reason why I bring up this type of semantic verbiage is because I was also told by Joseph Rose that my life would be like a game. He told me that I can exist in a game, is what he told me. So that's the other thing, drugs. Drugs, always around for some reason. In college, they were always linking me up with people with drugs at all fucking times. At all fucking times. Right? Never did I never did anything except I think I smoked. I puffed 3 times on marijuana. I puffed. I didn't buy, I didn't purchase, I took 3 puffs. I mean, I think Obama took 3 puffs, or maybe a puff or 2. I don't know. But long story short, I've never done any drugs, but the thing is, I've noticed that they've always tried to keep drugs around me. At every apartment complex, everywhere I have been, there has been a perpetual common denominator of marijuana in and around my atmosphere at all fucking times. And they try to drill you down into so much stress that you rely on shit like that. And then when you go and get a date from a website, these women are on marijuana or they're on fucking mushrooms. And it's like this perpetual fucking circle of just trying to drill your life down and trash your life. That's important to note too, because he told me that would happen too, right? People are going to work together to trash my life. Here I am, right? The dungeon boss. I don't know. It's called PMA. I don't know what else to say. But, and it's strange because it just continues. The guy that I just kicked out back in October had mushrooms. Can't make it up. Right? So, and the thing about it is every hot chick, they always have something that's not appropriate going on, and it's always the drug thing. It's always the drug thing. I don't fucking get it, right? There's all kinds of good things you can just be doing out there. Exercising is one of them, but no one wants to fucking do that regularly. Adaptogens and nootropics are important, okay? And one of the big things for me, because I'm literally treating myself because I can't fucking rely on doctors. I can't rely on therapists. Sure as hell don't ever want to rely on a psychiatrist. God knows, don't ever rely on a psychiatrist or a psychologist. Okay? They are out to just destroy all your liberties and all of your freedoms. And on top of that, all of those aforementioned people and providers have abused me in the office setting. So there is no reason to go and believe anything. And half of the things that I've learned about myself, over half of the things I've learned about myself, I should have learned a long time ago. And the second I started looking and reflecting on my own mental, chemistry and things of that nature, I learned enough about myself that there's a reason why I was who I was back then. There's a reason why, even when I was a kid, there's a reason why I was the way I was when I was a kid. And, no one was there. They were there except to work on it. They were there to work on it. They were there to manipulate it. And they were there to fucking work off that and groom it until what came to be this program. So they weren't there to fix it. They were there to work off of it and fucking abuse me. Let's take a look at the vehicles. Screen share. Okay, so we're not screen sharing. It's got too much for you. We're doing too much. Okay, so we're going to close out. All of a sudden, there's too much of a load all of a sudden on my evidence here. No problems before, but all of a sudden there's a problem now. Let's see if we could re-screen share it. Okay, that seemed to have worked. Go back to screen share. All right. So this is very interesting. So it hasn't snowed since 1992 to 1993. Apparently this is a big deal. So we have snow here, which hasn't happened in the last 30 years to my knowledge or greater. This is a typical video. What can I say? This is every day. I mean, putting these things up here is old. It's getting old because it's happening every day. This is a normal day where they start with the technique. The things that they want you to see, they're going to start bringing out second you leave the household. Okay. So you have this vehicle here, and it looks kind of like that police cruiser, right? It kind of looks like a police cruiser when you see it pull up. And then he's got blue coming up. And what they do is they're making connections. What does it look like? So what they do is this is a world that they've created based off of trauma. So for about going on, it looked to be 8 years, everybody that I spoke to about this, they said it's not real. It's not real. It's not happening. It's not real. You go to anybody and everybody you speak to, it's not real and it's not happening. What are you talking about? You're crazy. The purpose of this is to traumatize you and abuse you to such a degree that they get away with it. They get away with making all the mental and neural connections of the abuse. So here you have these guys orchestrating this police type connection, right? Right. I mean, police coming up. And the other thing is you're coming up over a hill. You see that? So what they've done is they've made all of these psychosocial skits occur and abuse you to such a degree that you have a mental connection simply because you've been abused, right? For years. This is what happens when you're obedient and you're civil. For years, right? You get fucked up muscles, a fucked up endocrine system, right? You get no assets that you would appreciate other than a roof over your head. And of course, the chain of survival. And that's about it. And then you still get to go fishing. That's about it. And then besides that, you get to be followed around by hundreds of thousands of people at this point. At this point in the game, if I were to tally things up, since I've traveled everywhere, it's literally tallied to, I would say, close to 100,000 plus people. The places that I've been, the areas that I've driven, there's thousands of people involved at this stage of the game. Okay, I'm driving here, doing what I have to do. I don't even know where I'm going at this stage. This is on the 11th? Yeah, I don't even know where I'm going. I can't even recall because I'm studying. But this is the distraction that I have to deal with when I'm studying for school. This is the distractions. Every time I go somewhere, I have to deal with this. So it's the whole red car thing, whatever. And you have these people here. I don't know what it is, but they were using people a lot more. Now they don't use them as much. But people, you have to realize that I'm going through here maybe what was that? That was less than 15 seconds. I don't drive a lot. And it's always these people within this proximity. They make sure that they walk by you. They're always on the sides. They're always walking or pedaling in front, but it's like they're always intercepting you at this area. Because if you think about it, this guy, if you were to think about it, hypothetically speaking, this is a road, right? Okay, hold on a second. Let's just go and think about this really quick. Let's just go and think about it. Hold on. What are the odds? Let's see if we can see them really quick. About right about there. I can see him right there. I can see him right there. Right here. Okay, let's think about this real quick. What are the odds of a man standing here at this time, okay, when you have all of these roads, miles of roads, right? Miles of road. Here's a gas station. There's another gas station on the other side of this bridge right here. There's another gas station, right? Just like this one is, except it's on the other side of this bridge. But these people, what they'll do is they'll make sure that if you go over or underneath a bridge, they'll make sure that there's a person walking on that bridge directly over you. Like there's this sign or this signal saying we're walking over you. That's what it's saying. They'll do that on bridges. They'll have and you could just be driving and you hardly ever come up on bridges, but they'll keep this perpetual pattern of someone walking on the bridge over above you, directly over you as you go under that bridge. As you drive under that bridge, there will be a person walking right above you, sending this message, we're walking over you. In this case, what is this guy doing? He knows that I have to get on here, so this is why he's there. They use people for some reason, I don't know why, but they change and alter the spatial circumstance of your environment to where people, for some reason, are always walking beside your vehicle, and it's like you're driving right beside them all the time. It could be on your right side, it could be on your left side. Or what they'll do is they'll cross directly in front of you. And for some reason, they'll do this, and it's like, wait a second. You had all day to be anywhere, but there's somebody here walking in front of your vehicle as you're driving, or riding their bicycle directly in front. It's like, why? Like there's 1,000 places you could be, and this guy is going to be here and do that. And what it is it's a chain of events. If you go back, we talked about the chain of events. When we say this is a frequency deal, and this is how we delineate this bullshit campaign from any other campaign, from just normalcy, is we had this discussion about the previous setup. Coming up over the hill, and you got this guy right here looking like a police officer undercover, and you have this blue. And they're browbeating you with this arrest, some type of arrest thing. They had years before the program even started to arrest me or confront me about anything and everything that they wanted to. And now they're driving around using this storyline of arresting me. They're using a storyline of and browbeating me with intimidation of policing me. Okay? Of policing me. And so you have, of course, all my videos are inundated with this red car bullshit, or just red vehicle in general bullshit, because I think a lot of it's red SUV as well, but red vehicles in general. So he comes, and then it's an orchestration of, you have a red vehicle over here, but you have an orchestration of these weird events. And we talked about remember we talked about how, I forgot what vlog it was, but if you go back to a lot of my vehicular videos, I talk about how these vehicles will come within 50 to 100 feet. They'll come to this stop sign. So if I'm driving down a road like this, they'll come to that intersection and they'll literally intercept me. So you'll just be driving, but the pattern of the vehicle coming is always 50 to 100 feet. It's always 50 to 100 feet, right? And they can change up the way they drive, but a lot of it is this, exactly what this red vehicle did right here. which is waiting for me to come 50 to 100 feet. And this is why this is important to understand the whole accuracy and precision in technology piece, because they're using accuracy and precision to track me. That's why he knows to meet me 50 to 100 feet from this intersection. Okay. So that's exactly what this red car was doing. He knows that I'm coming. So he's going to intercept me here, 50 to 100 feet from the intersection. This is super common. This happens every fucking day. It's the same distance. Okay. Then he knows I'm turning and there's a red vehicle here. Okay. So then there's this guy here. This is not a bus stop. This is not a fucking bus stop. I have no clue. So it's just like they change and alter the circumstances of the environment and just make it awkward. And you have no choice to be like, huh. So this is an on-ramp, right? This is an on-ramp. The past, I don't know, 10 videos, we've talked about these, right? We've talked about these. And if anyone's following, I don't really give a damn if you are or you are not. I really don't give a damn who's subscribed and who's following. We talked about these on-ramps. Lo and behold, what do we have? Oh, wow. Wow, does that look fucking familiar? Huh. Interesting. Huh. Fucking interesting. So intercepted me with the white SUV. Go figure. Oh, and we're not done yet, right? We got more for you. So here comes the white SUV parade. This is what I'm talking about, right? And the thing about it is that white SUV. Do you see how long it took me to drive? So I'm driving, and it seems like everything's normal. And then they come speeding along. Now the speed limit is what? What am I doing? Look at my speed limit. Let's just play it. Speed limit is 60. 60. Okay. Okay. So as I said, right? In this case, it's a trio of gray vehicles. See that? And this whole gray transition occurred about 2.5 weeks ago. And that's objectifiable by my box. We talked about that. Now all of a sudden they're on this convoy bullshit, which is gray convoy. And there you go. There's that. We talked about the black SUVs, right? Talked about the black SUVs going all the way back. Talking about abusing me with the romance of Kirsten Mail. I get on this on-ramp right here. Get this black SUV driving, right? They keep me occupied with this bullshit, and then they have this black SUV pull up for the duration of the transit into what appears to be, looks like maybe I was going to the gym or something. I don't know. But you see, they just shit in the same patterns of vehicles. Okay. And I just don't feel like dealing with a bunch of video today because I've got things to do. I have like an exam coming up and I got all this assignment shit. So I've wasted enough of my life with this documentation stuff. Okay. So strange that there's a guy or a gal in this case on the left side as well. See, there's a pattern. Throughout the day, there's a person on the left side of your type thing. So I don't know. There's just weird shit going on, and it's meant to occupy your mental space. And the crazy thing is the stress is to such a level that it's stolen a lot of life away from you. And it's interesting that when you speak to people about it, that objectifiably they deny it, and objectifiably they ignore it. And then when you talk to them about anything else, they don't recognize anything that I'm saying. So that's today's second vlog. Next, I mean, there's a ton of things to talk about, but another update is my phone records, which I spoke about on the last vlog, regarding the fact that now it's been escalated to a formal complaint where I have to pay $615 to get my phone records, which by federal law says that I have a right to. It's just that simple. I don't need an attorney to argue that. I told them to mail my phone records. I have it on record through audio what they were going to do, what I requested. It has not been accomplished yet. I'm, for some reason, supposed to fight this in court. The FCC should just call them and say, show me the tracking number, show me that you mailed it. If they don't have it, guess what? It's a violation. Period. Why do I need to spend $600 plus, $15, whatever the hell it is, to go and move through a court proceeding? It wastes more fucking time. To what point do I need to go, I guess, to validate the obvious?